As you guys can see, it's pouring like crazy today. At least this umbrella is still holding up pretty well. As you guys know, I was going through umbrellas after umbrellas like before when it was raining like constantly. I read a lot of interesting news today about things like privacy and laws, and why it made me think of drones, how everyone always has that what if scenario as a way to like essentially ban it like here in Canada and most places. But first, like I just had some stuff like yesterday, like I was saying before, if you don't let people fly drones like recreationally in a regular place that's safe like in open fields, then it's probably more dangerous in many ways, like when you get out to like say the more further areas and start flying, because who knows what could go wrong where you're not as, I guess, prepared because you don't have the practice, or at the same time, what if you have like firmware updates and stuff and you didn't get to test the drone thoroughly? Because yesterday when I was flying the drone initially, I always got this message for some reason. It said, DJI Go 4 does not support the current display size setting and may behave unexpectedly. I was like, what is this? Like, what's going on? Now, some of you guys have updated me and said you've updated the firmware and it's been fine for you so far. Like, if anything, you've been able to fly in more places. I actually haven't updated it yet with that one where it says you have to require the login and all that. So I was wondering, like, hey, what's going on? I didn't like update anything, or did I? I was trying to think back, in past few days, you might remember I updated the Android operating system, like for the phone, so I was thinking maybe that was the cause of it. But again, for a situation like this, it just reminds me, like, it's better if I can fly like in places like this where there's absolutely nobody, like in an open field, because it's good to test things like that. Like, who knows what could go wrong in like the firmware updates. Imagine me flying that like way up there where I was, like in the middle of nowhere in the mountains and all that. Isn't that more dangerous to be unprepared? And yesterday I was talking a bit about sharing more, I guess, drone videos and all that for the general public, just to reduce the hysteria. And I was reading about this SkyPixel contest where it sounds like it's supposed to be a way for creative people, I guess, or anybody in general, to post their drone videos and all that to win a prize. I was thinking, is anyone else entering this? It sounds kind of fun in many ways. I don't know if I have enough photos or videos in general, just because I can't fly. Like, most of them are kind of old, like back in the winter time and all that, just because I can't fly it anywhere with the dumb laws here in Canada currently. And DJ Hex, your comment about people not knowing like who, like, say The Rock is and all that, it just reminds me of all these like game show trivia things I see usually, like questions I think should be super easy, but I'm surprised people don't know. Like this one here, anyone ever seen this for Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? It says, which one of these kitchen items most closely resembles a hemisphere? A salad fork, a cookie sheet, spatula, or a cereal bowl? Now this guy guessed spatula. What do you guys guess? I'll be surprised. Is there anyone here that doesn't actually know the answer? Do I need to tell you this? But this is my example. If you never know, like, people, it's only easy if you know the answer to it, I guess. And that's what people usually say when it comes to stuff like this. I thought this was a really interesting piece of news today. It says the CRTC here is banning cell phones from having unlocking fees. So as of December 1st, you can basically bring in your phone to the carrier apparently and get your phone unlocked for free. Well, that's kind of interesting. I've always thought that's a little silly to tie your phone down to a specific carrier. It makes me think of even things like with the drones, because I know there's a lot of controversy with saying the manufacturer setting like the distance and all that. I don't know, do you guys think that's kind of like the same thing, or is it completely different? Because kind of debate too whether or not the manufacturers should be the ones to put in the restrictions for stuff like that, like the no flight zones, or should that just be entirely up to the individual? Like if they do something dumb, then punish them, for example, like don't restrict the tech. I don't know, controversial topic. I mean, what do you guys think about that? It's kind of awesome too, I think, just reading your guys' comments saying, like, for you, your experience is when you show the drones to the general public, the general reaction is curiosity. They want to learn more, like in a positive way. So I think, again, I think we need more of that. It's just too bad more of that isn't on like film, like people actually showing that, because I think it's needed in many ways for people to see that too, because generally speaking, I guess for the average person, they mostly just see things like TV and media. So they show things like, oh, this drone is destroying this, it's deadly and all that. So that's usually what people see. So you need more, I think, positive stuff like that as well. Because for general like public hysteria, just for people who are uneducated about it, to stop the tech in general, I mean, it makes me think again, like it affects more than just like people flying it for fun. I think it affects everything. Like, I didn't even know if this was real in many ways. Like, I was looking at this thing talking about, like, you know, again with that topic of Canada investing in military drones, and I guess they don't have the resources to build it themselves, so they want to buy it from others who could just say, nah, I'm not selling it to you. It shows here like these drones, an RQ-11 Raven, like this is what the army uses for a drone like in Canada. I was looking at this and I'm like, is this like real, like in terms of modern day military? Because again, my perspective of military stuff is it's so high tech and advanced, but I'm almost inclined to say my consumer drone looks a little bit more sophisticated than this. Like that would be my worry. People fear monger the tech and we're so behind like this. maybe that drone has some kind of like super secret, I don't know, missile firing capabilities or something like that. But again, just by the looks of it, the way people were constructing it and bringing it up to the air, like even for me when I'm using the Mavic Pro, it's just like pop up the propellers, start it up, and let's go. Like for the most part, and that looks a lot, I don't know, more tedious and more old school in many ways. Must be looking for food or something. So one thing that got me thinking today was how, like yesterday I was saying, why is a camera on a drone treated so differently, like compared to everything else, like a smartphone or like a regular camera? Why is it just because the footage took on a drone has to be treated with such severity in many cases? And so one of you guys actually posted a comment just talking about you know, drone safety in general, how like generally speaking it's usually those people that do really stupid things like this, for example, flying your drone right next to like say a helicopter during an emergency. Like what are you guys thinking? Is that like really worth your footage or whatever you want to get? So it's because of people like that, like the laws are necessary. But like for here in Canada anyways, the laws are really stupid, like they're really over the top. Like you can't fly anywhere basically in a regular area. You'd have to go out in the middle of nowhere, like what I did yesterday for example, to take the footage. So with that said, again, one of the big issues to my knowledge is, again, it's privacy. People are afraid these drones can spy on people, like they won't know that they're being captured. And today, like I read this news here, someone was facing charges like here in Canada of voyeurism. And he's basically been recording like, you know, people out in the streets and they don't even know it. And he's been publishing it online. Like it says here, the police say they've seized hundreds of thousands of images to date back as far as 2012 from the man's devices. Like this guy actually had a Twitter account and he had followers and he's been publishing it for like who knows how long, like a couple of years I'm guessing. Like what did he use? He didn't use a drone for this, he used like a regular smartphone camera or whatever. But like in cases like this, I would ask, is this one guy enough to justify like a complete banning of the tech in a crazy way just because of this? And it is possible. Like isn't it better here, like it doesn't matter, there's a law already for it. It doesn't matter if you're using a drone, a big camera, a small camera, it should all be the same. So why this special restriction for a drone camera, like in terms of the footage? I mean, again, flying the drone safely, that's a completely different topic, but in terms of people being worried about privacy in video and needing special, like crazy laws that, you know, it just prevents you from flying everywhere because of the fear of privacy, I mean, you should be afraid of people like that they can use any tech in general, so it shouldn't be exclusive just to drones in my opinion. Because again, my hope is people don't just think you're just banning people flying, quote, toys, it has no use whatsoever. But again, in my opinion, if you stop people from flying recreationally, you know, to get practice and to evolve the tech here, then you're stopping more than just people flying it for fun, like me, for example. I just fly it for fun to capture videos, like during my trips and all that. But like here, I believe this research was done in Sweden or something like that, where they were trying to use drones to deliver defibrillators. And they found that, for example, that in 18 simulated cases, they said, the drones got there 16 minutes faster than, say, you know, like a traditional ambulance and all that, and that you can save lives. I mean, think about that. Someone flying a drone and saving a life in that way. Imagine, you know, just as an everyday person possibly needing to do that too. Like, granted, stuff like this, if you're flying in the area, you probably should be like an emergency professional. But how about those times where, I don't know, in the future, maybe everyone will need some kind of flying skill to fly a drone. Maybe in cases like this, you never know. I know people like Garneau said it's his nightmare that, you know, these drones are just gonna crash into planes like crazy all the time and all that. But in my opinion, I think it's more of a nightmare to worry that we're not gonna evolve with the times like this, and we're gonna hold back people from doing stuff like this because of these like ridiculous drone laws. All right, see you guys later.